2% of dudes rapping, they ain't nice as me. 98% ain't lived the same type of life as me. The judge gave me life and damn, they sent me where the life is be. The level 4 with depth and fights, the type of shit they like to see. True choices fight or flee, I refuse to die a chump. I never been a bitch, but damn, it's scary when that riot jump. I seen dudes cry, get punked, some sexually brutalized. Knew a dude who lost his life and he was only doing 5. Year-long racial fights when homie, all you do is ride. Lonely days and nights up in a hole, causing suicide. From the moment you arrive, you see the Mexican mafia, bulldogs and skinheads with big giant swastikas, pro-black philosophers, the BGF and Gumi, and Muslims who will murk you from the nation to the Sunni. The Northerners was loony, quick to ride up on their rivals. Even Christians went to church, hide knives up in their Bibles. Political and tribal, the Crips and Damoos, the Long Beach, the Hubs and the Dubs and the Grooves, the IEs, the Bakersfield, the Dago Pie Rules, the Hustlers quick to roll, the Gangsta Crips move. Whatever clique you choose, you better stick to the...
Say, what's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy 16 to Life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. You're down! Now, for those of y'all that's new to my page, in 1994, I got arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years plus life, and I served 24 years straight in the California prison system. Yeah, that's me rapping on the intro like I told y'all. The flow is nothing like Curtis Blow. Now, let's hop right up into this story right here. So, today, I don't even quite know exactly what I'm going to name this video, but something along the lines of, if you take a life, should you ever have the opportunity to become free, or something along those lines, right? I've had people several times in my comments saying things like, hey, Chill, you and other people who have, admittedly killed people in the past, you guys should never be free. You get to get out, you get to enjoy being with your family, while your victim does not have those opportunities, right? And so for those who say that, I honestly cannot disagree with you. Somebody asked me that question maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago, somewhere up in there, right? And I normally, when I get a good question that I want to turn into a video, I normally screenshot it so I can shout that person out as I'm making the video. But unfortunately, this time I didn't do that, man. So if you posed that question to me a couple of weeks ago, you know who you are. Shout outs to you, right? And so I'm gonna honestly answer this question, right, at the end of this video, in terms of what do I think should happen to a person who takes the life of another individual. So as I start this video, right, I want to say this: I do not condone at all the killing of a person who is a civilian, or the harming of a person who is a civilian. Not to say that a person whose life is, or not to say that a person who is a gang member, that his life is any less valuable than or is less important than a person who is a non-civilian. My take on that, though, is, gang banging, or when you join any type of form of the underworld, that is pretty much a voluntary consent that you will play by the rules of the underworld. That's almost like hopping in a football game voluntarily and then complaining about getting tackled when you knew the rules of the game, right? So just, I want to say that I'm not speaking on the harming of civilians, because in my generation, I was born in 71. I say I started in the streets, maybe around 85, 86, somewhere around there. It was always taught to us that, you don't prey on people who are not involved in the same type of lifestyle, right? And so later on, I'll give you guys a little story about something that occurred anyway. But so I just wanted to be clear that I'm not talking about the harming, the robbing, anything related to a person who is not involved in the gang member or the underworld, right? And so as I have matured, I realize and I understand that regardless of what type of lifestyle an individual in, life is extremely precious. We only get one life. There's no coming back from that. Once you're gone from this world, death is extremely permanent, right? And so as I get older, like I said, now, I have things that are important to me. I'm definitely not proud of my activities in the past. But I also say that once again, when you live a certain lifestyle for so long, at times we can become entrenched in the ideologies of that lifestyle, and sometimes it's hard to let go certain belief systems, right? And so it's sad, but I believe that when people join that life, unfortunately, you have to accept the good with the bad, because even with the blacks, right, who gang bang or who are um in the underworld, we are not held to the same long-term standard that some other organizations are by that organization. But you are still sometimes held to that long-term standard by the streets. Because say for instance, right, if I was to do something to an individual in 89, 1990, whenever it is, right, I happen to run across some of his people in 2026 and they don't want to accept what I done, I may still have to pay for my actions, regardless of I could be a changed man, I could be preaching in 3 different churches. And if they are willing to accept it, if they are not willing to accept it, then I will have to answer possibly to whatever repercussions they feel that is warranted, right? So once you enter this life, man, for the youngsters that's out there listening, once you enter this life, man, it's a lifelong commitment, whether you want it to be or not, right? And so, like I say, sometimes when we're out there in the streets, we feel that if a person is gonna do it to us, it's all fair and game to do it to them. And like I said, a lot of us, join gangs when we're 14, 15. We are extremely immature, right? And so we don't necessarily understand the full repercussions of our actions. So lately, you may have heard on YouTube or whatever that you have a lot of different individuals, different organizations in different sections of Los Angeles, particularly pushing for peace. And me personally, man, I applaud those individuals, right? Because first and foremost, Bloods and Crips started in LA. So if this pushing for peace of the Bloods and Crips, if that's something that takes off in LA, then maybe it will eventually make its way out to other areas who also have Bloods and Crips, right? And so you have a lot of the older individuals pushing for peace. You have some of the younger individuals against it. And the reason I believe that a lot of the older individuals who are pushing for peace, because they understand, man, that life is precious, right? And the youngsters don't understand that the older dudes who are pushing for peace, that push for peace is somewhat of an attempt to save their lives, to save the lives of their homies, and so on and so forth, right? Because even being from a small town, I've lost several homies to gang violence, man, and I would love to have all those dudes back, And so the youngsters out there, man, they just don't understand, man, that this push for peace is to save your life, potentially save the life of your homies and stuff. Because once you get older and you get to thinking about, damn, man, I wonder what my homie would have been doing had he been able to survive the streets. And it's a cold situation, right? And I know one thing 100%. You have very few people who truly don't love life and want to die, man. I've been locked up with a few individuals, right? And I've heard of other instances as well too, right? Where certain dudes, man, they were super Bloods, they were super Crips, and some of them was really with the business. But when they happened to get caught up in an altercation or a situation, and they was on the other side of the gun, some of those dudes literally begged for their life, right? And unfortunately, some of them didn't make it. So I just say that to say that, even those who out there are willing to take lives, when get caught up in a situation, they don't want their lives to be taken. And so that is something that, of course, an individual can say. Only an extremely selfish person, myself included, would take something from someone that we don't want taken from us, right? That just reminds me too of several times, right? Like you guys, like I say in a lot of my, and I don't say this braggingly, I was out there in the streets, right? Kind of heavily, right? And I got caught up at an attempted murder. I got caught up at a party, and it was some people who was who was cooperating with the police. And so in my young immature mind, I felt that hunting these people down and eliminating them would prevent me from going to jail. Well, we found in the end, of course, it only compounded the situation and made things worse, right? But in the midst of looking for whoever I was looking for, I had got a tip that he was hanging out at a particular house, right? And from time to time, he may be driving his cousin's car. I knew what type of car his cousin drove and so on and so forth. And so many nights I would sit outside of his house, literally in the bushes, hoping to catch this dude, right? One night in particular, I'm sitting outside the house. It's maybe about 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the morning. Like I say, I'm from a small town, one of them towns where a lot of a lot of stuff closed down around 11:30, 12 o'clock, right? So I see an individual. Now this time I'm sitting maybe a little further back from the house than I had been in some bushes to kind of conceal, my body or whatever, right? I see an individual come out and get into the car and head down the street. Now it's so late, I'm assuming that this dude is going to the store, right? And I'm assuming that the person who hopped in the car was the person that I'm looking for right now. The store is maybe about 2 blocks down the street. So I start walking down there. Now I got on a long black coat and a Halloween mask, and I got a big old giant gun up my sleeve, right? And I got another gun in my pocket. And so as I'm coming down the street, maybe about a half block, because I see the car turn, because the car is going down the street. So I run out to the street. The car turns and pulls up in the store. So now I'm walking fast. I'm trying to get down there. I see a few of my older homies who probably was out there, homies who was known for smoking drugs. They standing behind the car. Standing behind the store just hanging out, right? So as I get closer, one of them speak to me. He like, "Hey, what's up, homie?" I just look up, right? He sees the Halloween mask, and they just run back behind the trees like, "Damn, what's up? What's up? What's up, homie? What's up?" It's fear, right? It's fear. So now, as I'm bending the corner, now I'm entering the parking lot, and this store is so the dude has come and he's parked right in the front of the store, basically right by the door where it says no parking. But I'm assuming since it's so late, he feels that it's safe to park there or whatever. He feels to just run in and run out, right? And so as I'm bending the corner and I have to turn to the left, now I'm walking towards the front of the store. The store's sitting like this, right? And I'm coming down the street, so I have to turn left in order to walk toward the entrance of the door. As I turn left, I see this individual coming out of the store and hopping into his car. Now his car was like a small sports car type of car, right? And so as he's hopping in the car, I walk to the passenger window and I pull out the big old giant gun. And as he's sliding in and shut the door, I tap the passenger window with the big old gun where he can see the barrel. Bing, 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 bing. He turns, man, his eyes must have got big as tractor wheels. He saw that big old gun and that Halloween mask. I peered in, and it wasn't who I was looking for. So I just continued to walk on down the street. About a minute or two later, he came riding by real slow, trying to look right. But when I peered into that car, I seen extreme fear in that man's face, right? And I say all that to say, nobody wants to die, right? Nobody wants to die, man. Real quick, once again, I'm out there creeping, right? I'm on my bike. I believe I might have had on a Halloween mask or a beanie with the eyes cut out. I run across one of my big bros, man, Law Dog. Shout out to my homie Jeff Law. I'm on Hayes Street. He's in the car with someone else. I can't remember if it's the homie DD, rest in peace, or whoever, but Law Dog is driving. So as at this time I'm on the run. I'm on a bike with my big gun across the handlebars. When I see the homie Law Dog, I say, "Hey, what's up, man? You seen Ronnie?" Now Ronnie is my cousin, right? But once again, they don't know it's me. I've been on the run. I haven't even been in town as far as anybody else knows for about a year. I'm on the run though. I'm living at my grandma's house, but only a few of my homies know. So he see that big old giant gun, and we sitting there, we having a conversation. But once again, I see his extreme fear in his eyes, because he don't know who the hell this is on this bike. You know what I'm saying? And with this big old gun across the handlebars. And so he's really making mindless conversation with me. He's just chit-chatting. I say, all right then, you ain't seen Ronnie? He's like, no. I said, okay, all right then. So I'm basically saying, okay, it's cool. The conversation is over. The conversation is done. But he's, hey homie, what you got going on? He's asking me a whole bunch of questions about nothing. But basically what he's trying to do, he's trying to check my temperature. Because here you got this dude on this big old, on a bicycle with this big old gun. And basically he's wondering and asking me, man, in so many words, hey man, is you tripping? Or is it cool to pull off or whatever? But once again, like I said, man, I see an extreme fear, because nobody really wants to lose their life. And like when I told the story when I was in Denver in the car, and the dude threw the bottle at my window, blow, and I hear it, and initially I thought it was a shot. The car drives in front of me and hits the gas. I'm in a car with a stick. So when I slow down, I'm in third gear. When I slow down, by me going so slow and I don't downshift, the car dies. When the car dies, the dude in the car ahead of me jumps out the car and starts coming back to me. Man, to keep it 100, I'm scared as all outdoors. I'm thinking like, damn, I'd never forget. I'm thinking like, damn, this is the way Chill gonna go out. Cause it was off the chain in Denver, right? I'm thinking, man, this is the way I'm going out. Cause dude is walking to the car. Like I say, I hear the blow at the window. Come to find out later on, it was a beer bottle. But initially I thought they shot the back window. And plus I'm out there in Denver, I'm paying attention to the news, and it's, they off the chain, it's shootings every night or whatever, right? Right before he gets to my car, he just all of a sudden bust a U-turn and go back to his car. I don't know if his homies that called him or whatever, right? And of course it's fearful, right? I'm fearful. So nobody really wants to lose their life, not of course outside of the people who unalive themselves or whatever, but the average dude, regardless of what he may be caught up in, enjoys life and is trying to live life, right? And so I just say all that to say that now that I'm older, of course, it's extremely, life is precious, man. Life is precious. I remember another time, man, I'm out there, I'm on my stalking missions, you know what I'm saying? I got my little black mask on. I'm leaving my father's house. I'm cutting through some apartments. It's a lady getting out the car, taking her bags in. It's like 1 or 2 o'clock at night. She see me. I immediately apologize to her profusely. Oh, I'm sorry. Because like I say, it was never my intention to harm anyone who wasn't in the street life. Like, and that's the main reason, when I knocked on the door with that thing, it wasn't who I wanted it to be, and I kept going. I could have had at that dude. That dude was connected to who I was looking for, but he had nothing to do with what was going on, right? And so, but when we caught up in this life, right, especially from my era, man, we was taught to get your man, not getting your man is no point in that. It's no point in not getting your man. You know what I'm saying? If and that's why a lot of times you'll hear dudes from my generation and my era talk about, quote unquote, the past. If you see your enemy with his little sister or his mom or somebody who wasn't involved, you didn't transgress on that individual, man. You gave that dude the pass, right? But so to answer the question, man, or before I answer the question, let me just say that, dudes who are, when they volunteer to gangbang, and you know who your enemy is, and you know who your enemy is, that's pretty much like an unwritten agreement between those individuals, man. So for a dude to, it just all comes down to the individual person. When you ask them how do they feel about one gang member killing another gang member, because even though they're gang members, that doesn't make their life less important than anybody else, because you all, even if a person is a gang member, he still has people that's connected to him, people who care about him, people who love him, people who are going to miss him dearly if he is killed, right, you're still gonna have people. I may see an individual as a no good gang member or this or that or whatever, but you may have a person, he may have a son, he may have, the next door neighbor who he fixes his bicycle with and throws the football. Dude may not have a father. He helps him do this, he helps him do that. He goes over there and cuts the grass. So it's always gonna be people who who find that person important and who find that person worthy of being able to survive, right? And so at the end of the day, man, honestly, I just feel that whatever is the law of that land that particular individual was in, California has different laws than Mississippi in terms of murder. Alabama has different laws, New York has different laws, man. So whatever the laws of that land are, and that's basically, that's just basically my feelings on that. I cannot say that, and I'm, like I say, once again, I'm speaking totally in terms of individuals who are involved in street activity. I don't condone, I don't believe in, and I don't believe in preying on people who do not partake in this activity. I don't believe in robbing people. If going out there just robbing a civilian or whatever, I don't believe in that. But of course, everybody who's in the gang life doesn't share my beliefs, right? So, but I'm just talking about me personally. So once again, I feel that if you kill, if a gang member kills another gang member, whatever the law of the land is, I feel for those individuals who don't necessarily like that killers are able to come home at some point in time, then maybe you should, and I'm not being facetious, maybe you should get at your congressman, and try to change the laws of the land, right? I do believe death is permanent, it's unfair, and it is what it is, man. So that's my sentiments on that situation, man. But anyway, you already know who it is. It's your boy 16 to life. Resume normal program.